So, if you've been watching the markets lately, you've probably felt a bit of whiplash, right? Some stocks are just flying, while others seem to be in a total freefall. It feels chaotic. But is this just a normal market rotation, or is it something more sinister, like the start of a real crash? Let's cut through all that noise and figure out what's really going on.
And that's the big question on everyone's mind, isn't it? The signals are pointing in completely opposite directions. It's confusing, and it definitely makes you wonder if you're missing some critical piece of the puzzle. So let's see if we can find it together. And this right here, this is what's so confusing. You've got the mega cap stocks on one side, the huge household names, and they're still in an uptrend. Investors are piling into them, seeing them as a safe place to park cash. It's a classic flight to quality. But then on the other side, you've got the riskier stuff, small cap stocks, crypto, and they are just getting hammered. This kind of split is a textbook signal of a late cycle environment, where the good times might be starting to run out of steam.
So how in the world do we make sense of this? Well, believe it or not, there's actually a tool that's designed to cut right through all this noise. It's called the NFCI, and it can give us a much clearer picture of what's happening under the hood.
Okay, so the NFCI, that stands for the Chicago Fed National Financial Conditions Index. That's a mouthful, I know. But you can just think of it as a financial weather report. It takes hundreds of different financial data points and boils them all down into one single easy-to-understand number that tells us if things are easy and supportive or tight and stressful.
Now listen up. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, I want it to be this. With the NFCI, a low number means loose conditions. When that index is low, it means money is flowing, credit is easy to get, and there's no major stress in the financial system. It's when the number gets high that you need to start paying attention. So say it with me. Low equals loose.
And just take a look at where we are right now. The NFCI is deep in negative territory. That means conditions are super loose. Now, compare that to the high stress levels we saw back in 2022. We're not even in the same ballpark. This is telling us, loud and clear, that the financial system itself is not in a liquidity crunch.
Okay, so if conditions are so loose, why are some things falling apart? It's because what we're seeing isn't just random chaos. It's actually a pretty classic, predictable pattern. It's the very first phase of a potential downturn, and believe me, it is crucial to know which phase you're in.
You see, these things usually happen in stages. First up, you get phase 1, early stress, and that is exactly where we are right now. The riskiest assets get sold off, but the big, sturdy stocks hold up. Now, to get to phase 2, we would need to see financial conditions actually start to tighten up. That NFCI number would have to start climbing. And a real broad bear market, that's phase 3. And it only happens when that tightening gets severe. So the key thing to realize is we are firmly in phase 1 right now.
And this quote from our source material really just nails it. This is a late cycle, narrow bull market. What that means is the easy, broad gains are over, and now the money is just chasing a few high-quality, safe-looking names. It's a rotation, not a systemic collapse.
All right, so we've got a handle on what's happening right now, but what about the future? How do we get ready for what's next? Well, we can actually build ourselves a little early warning system. I want you to think of this next part as your own personal checklist for spotting real trouble before it starts.
Now, before we get to the checklist, you should know the NFCI isn't some magic black box. It's a composite of real-world stuff. It goes up when its key ingredients start showing stress. For instance, when credit spreads blow out, that just means it's getting scarier to lend money. When volatility spikes, it's a sign of fear. The NFCI is just measuring the real-time stress in the financial plumbing.
So, what's item number 1 on our checklist? The big one? A sharply rising NFCI. That is your first, best warning that we're moving out of a simple rotation and into something way more dangerous.
And where are we today? Well, the signal is all clear. The NFCI isn't rising at all. In fact, it's low, and it's been trending even lower. Our main warning light is definitely off.
And it's not just the NFCI. The other vital signs of the financial system are stable too. High-yield credit spreads aren't blowing out, which means lenders are still pretty confident. The repo market, which is kind of like the overnight plumbing for the entire financial system, that's running smoothly. None of the secondary alarms are ringing.
So, the crucial point, the bottom line from our checklist, is simple. Right now, none of the major warning signs of a systemic crisis are flashing red. The alarm bells are silent. The basic ingredients for a full-blown bear market, they just aren't here, at least not yet.
Okay, so we've gone from total confusion to some data-driven clarity. Let's wrap this up and lock in the final, most important takeaway for you to watch.
So here's what you need to walk away with. 1. This confusing, split market is a classic late-cycle rotation, not a collapse. 2. Your key indicator, the NFCI, confirms that financial conditions are still loose. 3. The megacaps are strong because of a defensive flight to quality that's hiding weakness everywhere else. And 4, and this is the big one, a real bear market hasn't started because those systemic stress signals are all quiet.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The system is stable for now. Our checklist is green today, but we all know the world can be an unpredictable place. The big question we should all be asking ourselves is this. What kind of macro shock, a surprise jump in inflation, a major geopolitical event, what could be big enough to flip all these signals from green to flashing red? That's the real story to watch from here.